Awez, and today we're reacting to when an actor didn't want to be famous, Cillian Murphy. Okay, bro, man, I really like Cillian Murphy as an actor, mostly because of Peaky Blinders, which was one of the best series at the time when I was watching them. So I don't know what to tell you. Comment, like, subscribe, and let's
careers chasing the spotlight. Cillian Murphy spent his time avoiding it and still became a star. After breaking out with 28 Days Later, most actors would have cashed in and headed straight to Hollywood, but not Murphy. He never moved to LA, turned down roles that kept him too far from England or Ireland, and stayed out of the press whenever he could. No talk shows, no media tours, just smaller roles, smaller films, and the stage. All for the love of acting, not the fame that came with it. But when you're that good, fame becomes hard to avoid. Christopher Nolan saw something in him early, casting him again and again in films like Batman Begins, Inception, and Dunkirk. Then came Peaky Blinders, a show that was never supposed to be massive but whose quality and word of mouth made Murphy a household name. And finally, Oppenheimer, the role that pushed him past the point of ever being overlooked, whether he wanted it or not. This is the story of an actor who didn't want to be famous but was too good to stay hidden. This is Cillian Murphy. Cillian Murphy loves not working, saying that the best preparation for a role is, in his words, just effing living. He said film festivals and press tours only get in the way of that. From the very beginning, he never rushed to be everywhere or do everything. No formal training, no branding strategy, just a quiet obsession with doing the work right, even if not many watched at first. Born in Cork, Ireland in 1976 to a family of teachers, Murphy hated sports and quickly gravitated towards more artistic hobbies. But acting wasn't plan A, or even plan B. Music was his first love. By age 10, he was writing and performing original songs, setting his sights on becoming a rock star. He sang and played guitar in a series of bands with his brother Poddy throughout high school and the years after. He did get his first taste of acting in high school through a workshop with the Corca Dorca Theatre Company, describing the feeling as a huge high. But even when a teacher encouraged him to pursue it seriously,
Okay, that's a stupid name. Stupid name. I don't think I'm really gonna comment that much when it comes to this video. I think I'm just gonna chill and watch the whole thing. Because I'll be honest with you, dog, I actually am enjoying this. And I don't know if this is really a reaction video. This is probably one of the only videos like this I'm gonna make, because I'm not gonna really do that much commentary. I ain't gonna lie to you. I just wanna see this video. And maybe we'll like watch it with y'all.
he stuck with music, enrolling in University College Cork in 1996 to study law, while still focusing most of his energy on the band. Then came a turning point. He saw a local stage production of A Clockwork Orange, directed by the same man who had visited his high school years earlier. And suddenly, that old feeling came rushing back. August 1996 would change everything. That month, he met his future wife. He failed his law exams. His band turned down a 5-album deal that wasn't worth the money, a deal he's still relieved they didn't take. And most importantly, he auditioned and landed the lead in Disco Pigs, a stage play about a volatile teenager named Darren, nicknamed Pig. The show was a hit, and Murphy toured with it for 2 years across Europe, Australia, and Canada. Around this time, he moved in with his aunt in Dublin, and having no formal acting education, tried to catch up by reading every play he could find, especially ones recommended by directors and fellow actors. He spent entire days at his favorite bookshop reading anything that would help him grow as an actor. And the work paid off. He was cast in more Irish plays, including Much Ado About Nothing, The Country Boy, and Juno and the Paycock. But slowly, he started giving film a try. After a few small appearances, he had a supporting role in 1998's Sweetie Barrett, followed by his first lead in Sunburn in 1999, playing an Irishman who goes to the US for a summer of fun. Most of the films he did early on were Irish productions, including On the Edge, How Harry Became a Tree, and the film adaptation of Disco Pigs, where he reprised his role as Pig and even wrote and performed a song for the credits. By 2001, he had...
I didn't know he was Irish. Hey, yo, guys, now, besides like how they talk, right? Is there any like distinctive way you can see if somebody's not is not is not Irish, is not Scottish, is not British? Like, is there any like particular look they have? You know what I'm saying? Particular look. I'm not saying their culture and all those things, because it's definitely different. But how they look, You know what I'm saying? Like distinctive look, or it's just the same. Just like somebody could act, a British person could act Scottish, and people will be like, "Oh yeah, he's Scottish." You know what I'm saying?
Moved to London, and in 2002 he got the biggest opportunity of his career. Director Danny Boyle, who'd been making a name for himself with films like Trainspotting and The Beach, was making a post-apocalyptic film called 28 Days Later. He didn't want a star, he wanted an unknown actor, someone who he said could preserve the suspension of disbelief. Murphy was recommended by actress Paloma Baezi, but still he had to go through 6 rounds of auditions. And Boyle eventually cast him as Jim, a man who wakes up from a coma to find society taken over by the infected carrying a rage virus. Murphy was shy at first, often described as glancing slightly away from the camera in early takes, but that quickly evolved into something raw and vulnerable, a haunting performance that critics praised.
When a car cut across me, and then I wake up today in hospital, I wake up and I'm hallucinating, or
The movie was a hit across the board, becoming a landmark in modern horror and kickstarting the zombies that can run era. It earned Murphy some breakthrough actor nominations and opened every door he could have asked for. But Murphy didn't walk through most of them. He didn't move to LA. He didn't chase the next blockbuster. He didn't try to become a celebrity with the popularity of this film. Instead, he stepped back, choosing roles that challenged him, not ones that raised his profile, and staying in England with his soon-to-be wife. There's a reason you've never seen Murphy making headlines or surrounded by paparazzi. He didn't even appear in an on-camera interview until 2010, over a decade into his film career. His goal wasn't to be seen, it was to get better. And over the next decade, he quietly became one of the most interesting and respected actors. The decade after 28 Days Later might be the most interesting stretch of Cillain Murphy's career, with the wide range of roles he was taking on in theater and film. 2003 was a big year. He starred in Intermission, a dark Irish comedy alongside Colin Farrell. Back then, the media kept comparing them, 2 rising Irish actors, even calling Murphy the next Colin Farrell. But in terms of how they approached fame, they couldn't have been more different. Farrell was partying, coming to the red carpet drunk and on magazine covers. Murphy was slipping into supporting roles and avoiding premieres altogether. But Intermission did well critically, becoming the highest grossing Irish indie film at that time.
You don't just hook up with the next fella walks by. The only reason you do that is if you never cared in the first place.
He also played Scarlett Johansson's love interest in Girl with
It sounds like Conor, bro. It sounds like proper Conor McGregor. I might watch this after some. I need to write this down, bro. I should always have a book. I don't have a book around me so I can write down these things. Yeah, but next time I have a book around me, just write it down, bro. I really want to watch it. Just to hear him speaking in an Irish accent.
The Pearl Earring and had a small part in the period epic Cold Mountain. Both films performed well. The roles were coming his way, but he stayed focused on the work, not what it could lead to. Then came Batman Begins in 2005, the start of the most important actor-director partnership of his career. Murphy had just married visual artist Yvonne McGuinness and was still living in London, where most of the film would shoot, so the role was perfect because he wouldn't be away from home for too long. He originally auditioned for Batman, even screen testing in the full suit, but while Christian Bale landed the lead, director Christopher Nolan was so impressed with Murphy's audition that he cast him as Dr. Jonathan Crane, aka Scarecrow. He beat out names like Robert Downey Jr. for the part, and even during auditions, his American accent surprised some of the casting team. They hadn't realized he was Irish. The film was a hit, and Murphy's performance as Scarecrow was very memorable, really commanding the screen while also being sinister yet controlled.
He's here. Who? The Batman.
More importantly, it marked the start of Nolan's obsession with Murphy, who kept finding excuses to get Murphy's character to remove his glasses, just to show off those signature blue eyes. Nolan called him one of the best actors of his generation and kept writing him into his films. Murphy will go on to appear in all 3 Dark Knight films, with small appearances in The Dark Knight in 2008 and The Dark Knight Rises in 2012, holding the record for the most frequently appearing Batman villain in film. And between those films came Inception in 2010. He played Robert Fisher, the heir to a corporate empire whose mind is infiltrated by Leonardo DiCaprio and his team. Despite being surrounded by a stacked ensemble, Murphy brought a lot of the emotional depth to the film, especially in the film's conclusion. It was a huge hit and an instant Nolan classic. And with 4 Nolan-Murphy collabs by 2012, it really showed how much Nolan trusted him to elevate his films, even if it's just to drop in for a memorable scene or 2. Outside of Nolan's films, Murphy continued to push himself, especially with complex or unconventional characters. In 2005, he starred in Red Eye, a thriller from Wes Craven. He played a charming man on a plane who manipulates Rachel McAdams' character as part of an assassination plot. Murphy said he loved the duality of the role, playing both the nice guy and the villain.
He's sitting in the dark.
Holy fuck. Wait. So he's been here for so long and he's only been on my radar after after Peaky Blinders. It doesn't make sense, bro. Like, I should have remembered him. Because I've watched so much of his movies. No, movies that he starred in. But I've never like clocked, oh, this is this guy from that movie. What the heck?
Listening to a little smooth jazz while he sharpens his 12-inch K-bar.
He even met with Craven just 2 days before his wedding to convince him he was right for the part, and it worked. Craven said, "Those eyes won me over. You just can't keep the directors away from those eyes." And on set, Murphy was the nicest guy around. No drama, just him bringing a crossword book each day to do with McAdams between takes. Critics called him a picture-perfect villain, though Murphy was more critical of the film himself, calling it a solid B movie and saying his performance could have been much better. That same year, he also took on a much riskier role, Breakfast on Pluto. Murphy played a transgender woman navigating life in 1970s Ireland. The film didn't land with all critics, but Murphy's performance was widely praised for being delicate, layered, and fully committed, earning him a Golden Globe nomination. In 2006, he starred in The Wind That Shakes the Barley, an Irish war drama that won the Palme d'Or at Cannes and became Ireland's highest-grossing indie film ever. He played one of two brothers who joined the IRA. Murphy called it one of the most important stories he had ever taken a part in, and it earned him GQ's Actor of the Year. Then in 2007, he reunited with Danny Boyle for Sunshine, playing a physicist on a mission to reignite the dying sun. He trained with physicist Brian Cox, observing his daily routines and incorporating his mannerisms into the character. It didn't do well commercially, but has since become a cult classic. Even in sci-fi, Murphy's approach was grounded in research and character detail, with each film taking more preparation than the last. During this stretch, Murphy also became a father, having 2 sons in 2005 and 2007. He began turning down larger roles that would keep him away from home for too long. His priorities shifted, but his work ethic remained the same. While Nolan's films raised his profile, most of his other projects were smaller and less commercial, allowing him to experiment. He played a nerdy video store owner in Watching the Detectives, an army officer in the romantic drama The Edge of Love, a petty criminal in the Irish dark comedy Perrier's Bounty, and a reclusive bank clerk with 2 identities in Peacock, one of them being a woman. For Peacock, he shaved his eyebrows and wore brown contacts to disappear into both personas, making him nearly unrecognizable, especially without the blue eyes.
I'm so sorry, but John is running a little
Damn.
late. Yes, I'll have him off to work in no time.
None of these films performed well, but critics consistently highlighted Murphy as the standout. The same was true in 2012's Red Lights, where he held his ground opposite Sigourney Weaver and Robert De Niro in a film about debunking a famous psychic. His only commercial hit during this period was 2011's In Time, a sci-fi thriller where time is used as a currency with Murphy's character enforcing this system. The film did well at the box office, even though critics were mixed about it. But throughout all of this, he kept returning.
Again, I know so much of the movies that he has starred in, and I did not connect this guy. Why is this a thing, bro? This is so weird, dog. This is
to
weird,
the stage.
bro.
He acted in plays across Ireland, Scotland, and England, but in 2011, he delivered one of the most demanding performances of his career, Mr. Man. A one-man show that toured Ireland, London, and New York, Murphy played a self-appointed moral guardian of a small town, who spirals into delusion while cataloging the sins of his neighbors. He called the role dangerous, the kind that only works with the full trust of a live audience. The show was a critical hit and proved just how far he had come. The range, the control, the commitment. You cannot challenge yourself much more than that as an actor. It was a reminder of what mattered most to him, acting itself. He wasn't building a brand or trying to become a star. After nearly a decade of challenging and unconventional roles, he hadn't been typecast. There was a brief moment in 2005 where it seemed like he might get stuck playing certain types of villains, but that never happened. Especially because in 2013, he took on a role that would change everything. One that would define the next decade of his career and bring the spotlight right to his doorstep. In 2013, the first season of Peaky Blinders was released, though it didn't feel like a turning point at first. The show had little marketing, aired quietly on BBC Two, and as Murphy put it, just caught fire because people talked to each other about it. It was the perfect project for an actor like him, a slow burn. No hype, just quality rising to the top, just like his career. Murphy played Tommy Shelby, the leader of a working-class gang in post-World War I Birmingham. But what's crazy is that he almost didn't get the role. The studio originally leaned towards Jason Statham for his physicality and screen presence. Murphy was very quiet and reserved in person, didn't seem like a fit for the character until he texted the showrunner, "Remember, I'm an actor." That changed everything. And once filming began, it became obvious that no one else could have played Tommy like this.
How much did you pay for the suit you'll be wearing?
Oh, I don't pay for suits. My suits are on the house, or the house burns down.
Murphy developed the character's now iconic walk, doing it so much on set that his wife had to remind him to stop doing it at home. By the end of season 2, he had already smoked over 3,000 herbal cigarettes for the role. The show ran for 6 seasons, concluding in 2022, and it kept getting more popular with each season, especially when Netflix picked up the distribution rights after season 2. From there, more big-name actors joined each season, and the critical acclaim.
You know what? I might actually just rewatch it. I might rewatch this one. Definitely.
Kept piling up. It was called the most intelligent, stylish, and engrossing BBC drama in ages. And at the center of it all was Murphy, delivering a performance so magnetic that Tommy Shelby became one of the most iconic TV characters of the decade. He hadn't gone chasing a hit show, just like he hadn't gone chasing stardom, but Peaky Blinders found him and turned him into a household name. And a film for the show is being made titled Immortal Man, with much of the original cast returning. Even with Peaky Blinders taking up much of his life, Murphy kept acting in films during the 2010s, still following his instincts, still avoiding Hollywood, still picking roles based on what challenged him. In 2014, he played a government agent in Transcendence, a big-budget sci-fi film starring Johnny Depp that flopped. That same year, he appeared in The Loft, which reviewed even worse, with critics saying it wasted a talented cast. In 2015, he took on a supporting role in The Heart of the Sea, directed by Ron Howard, playing one of the sailors who encountered the whale that would inspire Moby Dick, which also didn't do well at the box office. Then came Anthropoid, a 2016 war film where Murphy played one of 2 Czech soldiers on a mission to assassinate a top Nazi officer. It reviewed well enough, but box office numbers were disappointing. Just like in Free Fire that same year, playing an IRA member taking part in an arms deal in 1970s Boston. None of these projects were major hits, but he didn't mind. They let Murphy keep acting on his own terms, quietly navigating an industry where he could have easily been front and center. While Peaky Blinders was on the rise, he was still never too big for a role, like in 2017's Dunkirk, his 5th collaboration with Nolan. Murphy played a shell-shocked soldier rescued from a sinking ship. His character barely speaks, but he captures the trauma and panic in just a few gestures and expressions. A smaller role, but a vital one, and a performance that he researched and prepared a lot for.
Yo, this is a pleasure yacht. You're weekend sailors, not the bloody Navy.
Dunkirk was a massive hit critically and commercially, but even then, Murphy didn't treat it any different. With most of his focus on Peaky Blinders by the end of the decade and now living in Dublin, Ireland, Murphy acted in fewer films, just 1 or 2 per year, mostly supporting roles. He starred in The Delinquent Season, a small Irish romantic drama in 2018, and in 2019's Anna, where he played a CIA agent. Neither of them did well. But the one project he was most excited about was A Quiet Place Part 2, released in 2021. After loving the first film, he drafted an email to director John Krasinski to congratulate him. Then he never sent it, saying he chickened out, thinking Krasinski wouldn't care. Well, a year later, Krasinski cast him in the sequel. Murphy played an isolated survivor, a friend of the family from before the invasion. The movie had a hard time releasing, with COVID delaying it by over a year, but when it finally hit theaters, it was a box office hit, with critics praising Murphy's addition to the cast, making the sequel feel refreshing. And during that pandemic downtime, Murphy even hosted a limited-run BBC radio show titled Cillain Murphy's Limited Edition, where he answered listeners' questions and played music from his personal collection. It was very low-key and thoughtful, exactly what you'd expect from him. By this point, Murphy had spent a decade playing one of the most iconic modern TV characters, all while appearing in small films and Nolan hits on the side. He still hadn't sold out or made a celebrity out of himself, but the industry was watching. His audience was growing, and just as Peaky Blinders ended, the biggest role of his life was up next. Oppenheimer, Murphy's 6th collaboration with Christopher Nolan, but this time it was different. He wasn't dropping in for a supporting role. This was a Nolan film built around him. And when the script arrived, it came with a handwritten note. "Dearest Cillain, finally a chance to see you lead. Love, Chris." It was a role he didn't audition for. It was written for him. Murphy was honored, knowing how rare these kinds of moments are in an actor's career. Then the weight of it hit him. He had 6 months to prepare. He was about to play J. Robert Oppenheimer, the theoretical physicist who led the Manhattan Project and helped create the world's first nuclear weapon, a role that demanded everything from him, carrying almost every scene in a 3-hour historical drama. He locked in immediately. Already lean, Murphy lost another 28 pounds through strict dieting and cutting alcohol. Some days on set, he reportedly ate only a single almond. But the transformation didn't stop there. He learned horseback riding and studied everything he could about Oppenheimer, especially his voice and mannerisms. He was even more locked in during the shoot, skipping all the cast dinners to preserve energy, focus, and sleep, which he said he tries to get 10 hours each night. Emily Blunt, who played his wife in the film, said the weight of the responsibility was so enormous it consumed him. Not with drama, but discipline. But what was most impressive was that as focused as he wasn't method acting or staying in character off set. Instead, when action was called, he immediately became Oppenheimer, and just as quickly, when cut was called, he became Murphy. Blunt loved working with him and called him the best actor she'd ever worked with. The film was shot in just 57 days, an extremely tight schedule for a film of this scale. And when it released, every aspect of the film was praised. The visuals, the sound design, the direction, the writing, but at the center of it all was Murphy. His performance wasn't loud or over the top. It was in the quiet moments, the guilt of the character where you can see the anguish behind his eyes. Oppenheimer wasn't a role that screamed for attention. It asked for restraint. And Murphy delivered one of the most haunting and internal performances in a generation.
I feel that I have blood on my hands.
The film blew up at the box office, fueled partly by the Barbenheimer phenomenon, where Oppenheimer and Barbie, two completely different films, released on the same day, and the internet turned it into a must-watch double feature. Murphy embraced it, saying it proved that he'd always believed word of mouth still matters more than marketing and press tours. Just like Peaky Blinders, it caught fire because people talked about it. The film swept the Oscars, winning Best Picture, Best Director for Nolan, and Best Actor for Murphy. It was his first Oscar nomination and win. The first Irish-born actor to win in the category, and fittingly, because of the character he played, he dedicated it to the peacemakers everywhere. Instead of a party or something, Murphy celebrated the moment quietly, meeting his friend and Peaky Blinders co-star Sam Neill the next day for Bloody Marys, bringing his Oscar with them, of course. After Oppenheimer, Murphy could have done anything, but instead of rushing into another role, he stepped into producing. He launched his production company, Big Things Films, and co-produced the next project, Small Things Like These, alongside Matt Damon's Artist Equity. It's a small, somber story set in Ireland based on a book of the same name, with Murphy playing a coal merchant who uncovers a horrifying secret involving a local convent. The film reviewed well and was profitable, a strong first step into producing. Murphy has since signed on to produce a handful of other projects, including 28 years later and its sequel, The Bone Temple, and the upcoming Peaky Blinders film, Immortal Man. He's not just picking roles that could challenge him anymore, he's helping create them. But even after the biggest year of his career, Murphy hasn't changed much. He's still living in Dublin with his wife and 2 sons, still aiming to make just 1 film a year, preferably not in the summer, because that's his favorite time of year to be back home. He doesn't love fame, he doesn't like campaigning, he doesn't even take photos with fans. During a GQ interview, one fan who approached him for a selfie was told by Murphy, "Oh, I don't do photos." Instead, Murphy had a lengthy conversation with him, preferring that in-the-moment kind of connection. For years, Cillain Murphy spotlight. He never sold himself, never played the game. He just kept doing the work on his own terms. But talent always finds a way, and he became one of the most respected actors of his generation. It's sad that it's foolish to avoid fame as an actor, but it's inevitable if you want to become a success.
Damn. That's an interesting way of doing things. What you think, guys? Do you think I should do like that? I should be that type of person? Well, because I'll be honest with you, when it comes to this YouTube thing, I've been changing though. Like my habits, how I see the world, how I interact, has been changing because of this YouTube thing. I'm evolving into somebody that I hoped I would be like a few years back, and it only started like 2-3 months ago when I made a decision to actually start taking YouTube seriously. Like, I'm evolving, guys. I'm evolving. And I feel like I'm gonna evolve to the point where a lot of things I don't actually that I took for granted I take serious. Nothing that I took for granted, the things I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Nothing that I took serious I'm gonna take for granted. I think that's what I'm gonna do probably. Just gonna keep my head low. Work on this channel. Be there for my family. Be there for you all. If you ever meet up or we ever do like an event, you know, do a meetup, and just keep it like that. Keep it human. Keep it cool. We'll see. So, without further ado, thank you for watching the rest of the video. Thank you for chilling with your Owen. Comment, like, subscribe. And until next time, I've been the Lost Owen. We out.